Hey guys, welcome back to another video here in the Alpha Pack shop. Let's get into this one. Check it out, my dudes. This is the RZR 800S 2.0 build going on over here. Sorry I haven't been posting about it. I've been busy with this Renegade Flip It Marketplace build, but little by little in the background I've been piddling with this. My son's RZR 800S here that I built a while back for him. It's on the channel. If y'all haven't already, go check it out, and you'll see what was all done to it. But yeah, the motor has been in and out of this thing multiple times, and on the last go around I blew the crank due to a stuck pressure release valve in the motor, which sucks for me, right? So it's been sitting on that table over there for a year, it seems, or more. And finally, when I was ordering all the parts for this bad boy, I said, you know what, I might as well just order all this and get it done, because I've done rebuilt this motor multiple times. So, you know, if you have everything, it's not super difficult. And if you just watch a video or have the little printout in front of you, you're good. So it was all right here. Here's another one. That's out of an 800 Ranger that's sitting outside, but I'm not rebuilding that one right at this moment. But anywho, so yeah, now the motor is freshly rebuilt with new crank, bearings, everything, seals, you name it, all of it, bottom end, top end, rehone the top end, use the new Numera pistons and rings I had, put a good, fresh, cleaned up top head on it. That's good to go. And I went ahead, so I don't have another pressure relief issue, hopefully, this little doohickey here. And this is some little new setup. It has a rod that comes out. So, I mean, it still could get stuck, but I took all the precautions, you know, went in there and tried to get it all smooth and made sure before I tightened that sucker down, it was sliding up and down right. But I'm putting a oil pressure sensor on this unit so I can always tell what oil pressure I'm at. I believe the temperature for the water or the coolant is on the gauge. So I've gotten to this point here where I had the tranny out, motor out, went ahead while the tranny was out, changed all the seals, dumped all the fluids, and went ahead, and this plate on the front, it was leaking, which they usually all do at some point, and I went ahead and resealed it up. It's down there where the output shaft comes out of the front, that whole plate. So, and I had to tap a bolt that was stripped over there as well. And anyway, we got it all situated, and now I have it all hooked back up. I've plumbed in all the cooling lines and hooked up all the electrical. So next, I got to change some U-joints because I found that this one's bad, which I already have some. So right here, boom, got two of them. Clean up the air box and get the inner clutch cover on there. And then at some point, we're going to be able to put some fluids in it and run it for its first time and see how it sounds this time. And I'm really hoping, really got my fingers crossed, it lasts a lot longer than it has in the, you know, in the past. So here we go. Gonna go ahead and get some more stuff done, and I'll come back when I do. Got some stuff done. Haha. U-joints in, drive shafts in. It was way easier to not have this inner clutch cover on to put that in. I went from the backside up under it and was able to fish it up. Some people cut this out, they notch this, which will help too. I didn't have to do that because the clutch cover was off. If I had I probably would have had to do something like that or have someone wrench up on it. But anyway, got that done. This, I used blue RTV around the inner, you know, where it touches the motor and all. And I did that and spread it around a day before. And then the day of, I went ahead and everywhere I put the blue stuff, I just put a light coat on there, bolted it up and snugged it down, and it should seal up nice. I used grease back here so that I didn't glue the seal to the inner clutch housing again. And if I have to take it off, I don't want to rip that brand new seal again. So anyway, that's all good. Hopefully it's watertight. Got my fingers crossed, should be. Got everything hooked up here. I haven't bolted this down. We'll get to that after I get a couple other things done. I got to get this exhaust going. I will let you know in here, I was in here taking a rocker off a lot to twist a lifter down in there because it wasn't oiling as good as all the other three. Hopefully this last one, I blew air down in there through the push rod. I put oil down in there with the push rod. I mean, it's coming out. It's just not doing what these are doing. So hopefully after I start it finally and run it, it'll right itself. We'll know, because I'll take this off while it's running and I will watch it come out or not. And if it doesn't, it sucks again for me. Then I got to take this head off and change that lifter out. But hopefully it's going to be good. I've already primed the oil and everything like that. I had the plugs out while I did that. No resistance against anything in the engine. Primed it. It's hitting 30 psi. I have my oil pressure tester down here all set up, ready to go. Got one on the way. I hopefully don't have to take this inner clutch cover off to install the said thing I have gotten. I'm hoping. We shall see. But anyway, we'll get to that if it happens. So we're gonna do what we got to do to the exhaust now, which is hit it with some paint. So I'm gonna paint up the exhaust pipe and all, and then I got the titanium wrap down here. It's sitting in water. It's ready to get installed, and then after it's all dried up, we will paint that as well. So I went ahead and brought these out here and hung them up after I cleaned them off and everything, and we're gonna go ahead and hit these with some paint. So I'm gonna get the painting and then wrapping and then installing and then starting, hopefully. So whenever it gets to that point, I'll come back with y'all. Exhaust is almost done. Got it all painted up with that high temp black silicone paint. I got the wrap on it. I soak it in water in a 5-gallon bucket before I install it, so I can stretch it and get it real tight on there and not deal with a bunch of fiberglass dust, which I got it all over me. I itch so bad, oh my gosh. But once it's dry, I can then hit that with that silicone paint and paint the wrap, and that's ready to go back onto the machine. And then we'll be installing the mother clutches and belt right up in there. And then we'll be turning that key right there to this position and cranking it up and starting it for the first time, guys. Here we go. Well, not starting it. Houston, we have a problem. We got a 636 code, which is the crank position sensor down there. I've made sure it is connected, so maybe I have to replace it or try another one I have sitting over there on the table from another motor. And that should hopefully fix that issue. I just had a major issue with the clutches because they should be on right now. Let me show you what happened here. See this bolt? Yep, it's missing half of it. So it was way up in here, right? And when I went to go torque it, I set my torque wrench to 15 foot-pounds. I didn't even get nowhere close to that because that happened right there. Boom. I knew it felt real easy going in there. So then I took this here screwdriver, tried to stick it in there and wiggle, get it around, because it was like way up in here. And it kept trying to work its way in, actually. And I'm like, oh, stop, please. And then finally I had to figure something else out because it just wouldn't come out with that. And I took this here magnet, stuck a bunch of sticky grease on it, and I shoved it up in there, way up in there, because it was way up in there. And I just started spinning and wiggling and wobbling until I got it here, guys. Oh, check that out. I finally got it to the edge. It took like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get this sucker where it's at with this magnet. Anywho, eventually it's going to come out because I'm not going to stop until it does. I think it's almost out, actually, with y'all right here with me. I can almost grab it. Yep, I can now spin it with my fingers. Check that out. All right. Yeah, I didn't pre-take this out for y'all, so this is an exciting moment for me because I thought it was stuck up in there and I was going to have to drill it out. Got it. Sweet. Guys, that's how much. That's like half of the threaded part. That's the second bolt. I had a bolt just like this before, and I used it one time and tried to use it on the second one, and it snapped just like that. And then I had another one, right? So this is the other one. It was on here once before, torqued to 15 or 17 foot-pounds like it's supposed to be. And I tried to use it one more time. Boop. So if these are bolts I ordered, then they are one-time use only, obviously. And I'm going to definitely be looking for something of a higher quality and better hardness. I mean, Jesus, this snaps so easy. But anyway, so now I gotta find a bolt, or get a bolt, or go to Lowe's and get a bolt. I don't know. I'm gonna get a bolt somehow, way, shape, or form. Then I can put the clutches on, fix the cam position sensor, crankshaft position sensor, whatever. And then hopefully I can turn the key, like I said before, and go and start this sucker. So hopefully, here we go. Well, I found a whole mess of these bolts, but they are just about 6 threads shorter. And when I put them in there, this is how deep it was going. I only had about 3 or 4 threads in it before I need to torque it down. So I need to think of find a little bit longer bolt, though, or don't run the lock washer that's on the end of the clutch. So that's my options right now if I want to get it done right now. I'm going to see if I can find a little bit longer of a bolt. Let's see. So I got the clutches good, guys. I had to take away the lock washer here and just use blue Loctite on this bolt because it was a little shorter than the other one, and I didn't want it to only have like 3 threads in it. But I was able to torque it down. That's all good to go. Got the primary all on there and torqued down. Good to go. Now we have the problem of the crankshaft position sensor still being messed up. I changed the sensor to another known good one, and we might have a computer problem from what I'm understanding. May end up having to borrow one from a buddy to see if that is the problem or it's a line in between. I have a Ranger 800 over here I might be able to take the thing out of, but it's going to be programmed differently and run different than the RZR one, I'm assuming. So I'd rather just try the RZR one if I can. If not, I'm going to go get that other freaking Ranger one. I'm going to stick it in here and hope to God it gets rid of the code. And if so, then I have to find a new one. A brand new one's like $500, guys. $500 on eBay. Or I can get a used one for about $250, somewhere around there. So hopefully I can figure this problem out, because I'd really rather not try to start this with a bad crankshaft position sensor. So once I figure this out, we will then hopefully be able to crank this piece of... Ooh, guys, I'm about done with this bad boy. Anyway, we'll be back when it's right. I got it running, guys! Check engine light went off after cranking it over. Took a couple ways to get it running. And we running. She's smoking. Look at that wrap and that paint. I need to get out of here. But anyway, we're gonna rev it, break it in, let it cool down while we go out to eat, and I'll be back. All right, so it's the next day. I wasn't able to get back out here last night to do anything else, but it's the next day. We got her running last night, remember? Yep, that was what I had said, and you heard. So it runs, yay! So what had happened is, number one, I thought I changed the crankshaft position sensor over here with a different one, but that is the cam sensor down there. The crankshaft position sensor, which looks just like this bad boy. I had a spare, but when I look back here to see about changing it, it's way over here. There it is. See it on that case? And you see that bar right behind it? Honestly, I don't think I'd be able to change that sensor with it in the bike, with the motor in the bike, because it's right up against there. So, yeah. I'm glad I didn't have to change this, because I'd have been having a lot more work ahead of me to do so, I believe. I don't think there's a way I'd have been able to fish that in there. So, yeah, I'm glad that didn't have to happen. But what I did was I just cranked it a couple times, and I guess after cranking it a couple times, it sensed the sensor and the light went out. So I don't have any more check engine light on here. No more 636 code. I did also go to this battery that is a hunk of junk. The little negative lug over here is all broke, and I tightened it down and got it to bite better. So it could have also been a loose connection, but even after I fixed this, it definitely was still having the check engine code. So anyway, I even checked all the fuses. You see I got all this open up too. I went in there, checked fuses, all that. And yep, that did nothing. So at this point, we can put a belt in it, put the clutch cover on, put the seats in it. After I get the belt on, right? And we got to align it before I can take it down the street, because it is pizza a lot. It's been sitting for a year. I don't know why it's all out of whack. It had different size tires on it. That's probably why. But anyway, I'm going to align it, get all that done. and then hopefully we're gonna take it on the road and for its first maiden voyage under load. So here we go. All right, so it's ready to go, guys. I did try to throw some different tires on it to smooth the ride out, because these are locked, son. And I did just pull it out and kind of rode around the shop, but it was so bumpy, guys, and it was smoking and smoking, so I let that exhaust do its thing, so when I film for y'all, it's not just blowing all up in here and, you know, interrupting our cruise. So anyway, that's all cured, ready to go. Belt box, got the cover on, seats are in, everything's good to go. Did the alignment, took it around the shop, came back in, had to do alignment again. It was a couple times. But anyway, hopefully I got it as good as I can right now. And so what we're gonna do is hop in, and it isn't really warmed up, but you'll see. We're gonna keep an eye on this oil pressure, and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Is that little pressure relief getting stuck, not getting stuck, sticking open, sticking closed, whatever? Y'all let me know what the max oil pressure y'all get in men, if you don't mind, on y'all's RZR 800s or Ranger 800s, if you don't mind, if you know it. I'd like to kind of compare what I'm going to be getting. So here we go. We're going to start it up, pull it on out of here, and I'll see you on the road. All right, guys, here we go. Temp is 183 right now at the end of the driveway. Here's my oil pressure, right under 20. Just idling. Here we go. So, 88. Alright, so I'll let y'all see the oil pressure for a minute. We're in low. Here we go. I'm not going to go super fast. Clutching the way it's set up, I'm only going to get 20-25 mile an hour at low. I'm not checking my RPMs, but anyway, let's see. So let's turn this to RPMs and put it in high. Here is a little more warmed up. We're about 15 psi at idle. So here we go. We'll look at RPMs. Look at specs and know where it's, you know, 30 something psi at about 5,000 RPM is where we should be. We're at about 5,000 now. We're at 30 something psi. So that's looking about the spec. It's driving good though, other than being shaky as hell. Everything is staying together. So I'm gonna run it around the neighborhood a couple times and see if this ever changes. If it gets lower than 15 or 13 psi, I'll let y'all know. Let's see if it does it when I'm pulling in. Alright. Oh, it's so bumpy. Oh my gosh. So idle. Whoa. See, we've dropped a lot, guys. Is that normal? It's about 10 psi after it's fully warmed up at idle, right over 10. Y'all let me know in the comments if that is too low, which would indicate my pressure relief is sticking open. So y'all let me know in the comments what y'all's does, and I'm gonna ride around a little bit more and see if I can get it to do anything. Guys, so after getting it nice and warm, I want y'all to see the PSI now. So, we under 10 PSI at idle now. After it's nice and hot, not good. I think that's way too low, which tells me something. The pressure relief valve might be getting stuck open and we're getting warmed up, so I'm gonna have to pull that new thing out and check it out. Might have to go with the ball bearing fix if that doesn't fix it. You know, I mean, I can't have this thing not getting enough oil. That's why I'm putting this. I got an oil pressure sensor on the way and it's going right. Sure. Anyway, I'm gonna probably pop that sucker out and see if it's stuck in the up position. I'll be back. Check it out, my dude. So there's the pressure guard pressure relief valve that I'm talking about. That's the new setup I have. And it seems like it is getting a little stuck here and there. So I've taken it out multiple times to try a couple different things. Let me tell you what I've done. So I took the shaft out and the spring and all that, and then I polished it up with a Scotch-Brite thing, and I had put it on a drill and just spun it, and I polished it up really, really good. And I tried a couple different spring setups. So I tried this spring, which was on the original one, just that spring after taking the other one out, and it seemed to be around the same. Then I tried both springs, and at idle it kind of seemed to be about the same. Then I took this longer spring that I found laying around somewhere, and I tried that spring. Same kind of deal. I mean, it was all right, but it still had lower oil pressure at idle. So that didn't help. So at this point, I've tried what I can, because I don't have any 5/16 ball bearings, to try like 2 or 3 of them down in there with this and a spring. It's not this thing. No. So, you know, some people will take this, and then put 2 ball bearings down here. And then I've heard of somebody also saying they put a 3rd ball bearing in there. But anyway, I don't have those to try. So I've polished it up, greased it up, slid it back in, made sure everything felt good as I was going in and out. And we are seeing at minimum 10 PSI now, as it's all the way warmed up with the fan coming on. Before, it was getting down to like 5, 6, 7-ish. So now at least we're at 10, but I still feel that that's a little low. If y'all would, please let me know in the comments down below what y'all's minimum and maximum PSI for your oil pressure is. I'd really appreciate it. And if y'all have any tips or whatever on how y'all have upped your oil pressure at idle, please let me know as well. I'd appreciate that. So until then, though, until, you know, we get that all figured out, we're just going to run it like it is and just keep an eye on the pressures, and we're going to put an oil pressure gauge. Look what just showed up in the mailbox. Heck yeah, there's that oil pressure sensor that we were going to be putting in the RZR. So that just came in, and check out my setup. So this is how I'm going to have to install it for now. So I have this oil pressure tester kit, and that's what I had you know, hooked up before. So I'm gonna have to use some fittings out of it, and it looks like I'm gonna have to use this here hose from a grease gun. And here's the sensor. Yep, this little thing did not screw directly into the RZR itself. It needs an adapter, so I guess it's a 1/4 inch. So this is a 1/8 inch, I think, and whatever it is. So anyway, we're going to screw this in, and then that in, and then this will go here, and then the sensor will screw into that, and then we'll plug it in and run it up to the dash. And then here is the gauge here. It's pretty cool. You unscrew this. It looks like all I got to do is drill 2 little holes, and then run this in the plate behind the plastic and screw it in with my fingers, and then plug it all in, guys. Oh, maybe 3 holes, because I got to have a plug for that, or a hole for that. But anyway, so I've already removed the oil pressure tester, so I'm going to go ahead and install this right quick, and I'm going to run it right over here by the fuel pump stuff. And then I'm going to run the wire along the wiring harness all the way up to the dash, and then we will hook it up over here, probably in this area. And yeah, guys, so here we go. In just a second, it'll be there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Boom, boom. Got the gauge wire ran. And while I'm doing this gauge, which we're going to mount right here, I believe, I got Liam over there scooping some tires, guys, so that when we riding down the road with these choppy suckers, that don't be so choppy no more. Got Liam scooping these tires so they ain't so choppy on the road, because I don't have any spacers to run my other tires. So, first time scooping some tires. This reciprocating tool works great for this. So he's going to cut off all the excess rubber off these lugs so that when we go down the road, it's not going as we're driving. So, heck yeah, thank you, bud. While he's doing that, I'm over here mounting this gauge for the oil pressure sensor. I got the wire all the way to the dash. Everything's zip tied up, following the main harness. So I'm over here debating on whether I'm going to drill holes and just mount it with this plate and just smash it and put a hole for the wire, or if I'm going to cut a big old hole with, say, this here and mount it flush to the plastic. So I got to decide on that, and then when I do, it'll be in there. So when I come back, that gauge will be in. We should be able to see what the oil pressure is via this. Here we go. All right, guys, so the gauge is done. Tires are scooped. We've tested it out. We brought it over to my buddy's house while he's grilling. Check out the scoopage Liam did. Turned out awesome. Way less shaking on the way here. Oh my gosh, it was a different bike. We're gonna have to do the fronts, I think. But, you know, we can get to that. He did a really good job on the back though. Check out the gauge. My buddy Jeff helped me out putting this in. This is the new oil pressure gauge, guys. Bam. Let's start it up. I have seen a little bit less than 10 psi when it's really warmed up, but other than that, it's staying pretty good. So we're gonna run with it. So guys, I think this one's a done deal for now. I'm gonna test it out a couple more miles and then I'll put the back on, but yeah. Why are we in gear? Anyway. But yeah, when I rev it, it gets up to 30. When I let off, it's at 177 right now, so it ain't super warmed up, but we're at 17. Read's good. So I think we're gonna, you know, say that that's good. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna test it out a little bit more, and then after we do a little bit more testing and getting it broke in, we'll try some clutch mods. So, but until then, y'all take it easy, hit that like and subscribe, and bell for notifications. Peace.